How you doing, YouTube? This is Gunnery Sergeant 67 bringing you another YouTube video. Today's YouTube video is going to be over my take on the coming collapse, episode number 4. All right, so on Friday, Kitco released an article stating that Russia confirms BRICS will create a gold-backed currency. And if you go on and read the article, it says something along the lines of Friday, according to state-run RT, and RT is a like the Russian Times almost. It is a state-sponsored news organization, so it of course is very pro-Russia. It has a lot of Russian propaganda. It's just like all of the American mainstream media organizations, but it said Friday, according to state-run RT, the Russian government has confirmed that Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, also known as the BRICS nations, will introduce a new trading currency backed by gold. The official announcement is expected to be made during the BRICS summit in August in South Africa. That summit is supposed to be held on August 22nd through August 24th. I decided to kind of dive a little deeper into this news article from Kitco, and the actual source of it comes from a post, a tweet actually from the Russian embassy in Kenya. If you go ahead and take a look at this Twitter account, it's actually been around since 2013. And if you just scroll through it, this looks like a legitimate tweet. This does look like the Russian embassy to Kenya. And it basically says the BRICS countries are planning to introduce a new trading currency which will be backed by gold. More and more countries recently expressed desire to join BRICS. So it would appear that this is official. Now, granted, I don't know how big the Russian embassy in Kenya is, but I do know that Russia and China has been doing a lot more business here over the last 2 decades with the countries of the African continent, and they've been gobbling up assets. They've been gobbling up ports, mines, infrastructure, railroads, all kinds of things, and it's serving them well. Everything I've been reading is actually heard in regards to this topic has actually mimicked kind of the same thing that's just been expressed in this article. And to the effects that this announcement would have would be remarkable, and it would you'd have ripple effects across the whole global economy. Number one, the price of gold will probably skyrocket, probably instantaneously, and we'd see a continued rise of gold. In addition to that, wherever gold goes, silver usually follows. As everybody can see right now, I got a little bit of silver right here in front of you. I got some American Silver Eagles, and then I've also got some American Silver Buffaloes. I've got 2 1/4 ounces of gold, of American Eagle gold. And then I've got a 2.5 gram Van Canby bar right in front of you. So to kind of illustrate precious metals in my prepping plan. But not just the price of gold and silver will be affected, but also what will be affected is the place that the dollar holds in global trade and usage. A lot of people say that, a lot of economists and economic experts and political experts sit down there and say that that BRICS, there's no way that they could create a gold-backed currency because they just don't have the gold to do it. Well, I don't agree with that. And one of the reasons why I don't agree with that is because if you take a look at the United States is supposedly the holder of the most amount of gold of any country on the planet. It's cited as having over 8,100 plus metric tons of gold in its federal reserves. Does the United States have that amount of gold in its reserves? I couldn't tell you. Me personally, do I believe that's there? I don't believe that that amount of gold is in the American Federal Reserves. I think that we've sold a large portion of it away in hopes to eventually buy it back in the open market, but I don't think that that will be a possibility, at least not in the time frame that they would want, especially if a gold-backed currency by the BRICS is introduced and started to be used. And the reason why I say that is because every single time that audit the Fed or audit the gold reserve movement comes around, it gets squashed. The last halfway respectable audit that was conducted on the gold reserves of the United States was in 1953, and that was because there was rumblings of the U.S.'s gold reserves being sold off to pay the bill for World War II and the Korean War. So Eisenhower went ahead and did a audit of the gold reserves for the United States, but that was even kind of shanky. A lot of the auditors, they weren't allowed to go to every place and conduct their own individual audit. They had to rely on internal gold reserve employees, if you will, wherever the gold is stored, like in Fort Knox and things like that. They just brought them a tally sheet and here's the gold that we counted. So the auditors really didn't have, to my understanding, full access to all of the areas so they could do a proper inventory. But regardless, 1953 was the last time an audit was conducted. So yeah. And everybody points to China only having a little over 2,000 metric tons. It's like 2,118 metric tons of gold. But a lot of people don't understand that China and Russia are number one and number two respectively in the world as far as the production of gold. And both China and Russia really don't export a whole lot of gold. In 2022 alone, China produced over 330 metric tons of gold. They didn't sell a whole lot of gold. So where did that gold go? My guess is that China has been hoarding the majority of this gold for the past 10, 20 years, and they've been building up their stockpiles. They have not officially disclosed their amount of gold. Same thing with Russia. And the reason why they haven't done it was because of an opportunity just like what is about to present itself in Cape Town, South Africa with a BRICS summit. I personally think that they are going to announce a gold-backed currency for BRICS. I also think that it is a good possibility that a lot of other countries will be joining BRICS at that meeting, most notably Saudi Arabia. And with the announcement of a gold-backed currency, Saudi Arabia is a member. It is a good possibility that Saudi Arabia could also announce that they are going to take other currencies for the purchase of oil. That would be a huge nail in the coffin to the American dollar. And basically, in my opinion, that would be the death of the petrodollar. Now, I'm pretty sure that Saudi Arabia will still take dollars to purchase oil, but they're not going to solely utilize US dollars to purchase oil, not like how it is now. So because the US is the petrodollar and there is an agreement for all oil purchases by OPEC to be done in US dollars, you will have all these banks with all of these US dollars in reserve because of the stability of the currency, and then also to purchase oil and natural gas from OPEC. Well, they're not going to need those dollars anymore. So what's going to happen? Those dollars are going to come flooding back to the US. Not instantaneously, mind you. You know, that money has to work its way back to the United States. But once that starts happening, that is textbook definition, or one of the definitions of hyperinflation. The US has printed a massive amount of money, and because of the world reserve currency status, why central banks around the world hold American dollars in case of emergencies, because it is a tier 1 asset, meaning it's the most valuable asset that you can hold. And then also having to hold US dollars so they can purchase natural gas and oil on the open market. That need isn't there anymore. So the market space for the US dollar is going to shrink dramatically. And what does that mean for all of us back here in the United States? It's going to, if all of this comes to fruition and all of this does transpire, then over the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to see massive amounts of inflation, and probably to the point of hyperinflation. I've said in previous videos that here in the near future, the near term, and in my definition, near term is usually within 6 months to 24 months. We are going to see inflation like what's going on in Turkey right now. Turkey right now is experiencing hyperinflation. They're at the 85% inflation rate right now. And all of their commodities, a lot of people are priced out of commodities. Like, it's unaffordable to buy property. It's unaffordable to buy gold and silver in Turkey. The necessities of life are becoming almost unaffordable there. Food, water, you know, and even the ability to get to and from work is being drastically affected in Turkey. And I think all of that, if all of this comes to fruition at the BRICS Summit, will be in the cards for the United States. So with that being said, how can we go ahead and insulate ourselves here in the United States? Like I always said in my previous videos, you have to make sure that you take care of the necessities. One of the first things I think that you need to make sure that you have is a way to provide personal protection, regardless of what that is, whether it's a firearm, whether it's a crossbow, whether it is a bow and arrow, a baseball bat, whatever your mode of self-defense, personal protection, make sure that you get that. And if there's any additional accessories that come along with it, make sure you buy that. Like if it is a firearm, make sure you get your magazines, your bullets. Make sure you go ahead and get your cleaning gear, spare parts. You know, firearms are a piece of gear that has multiple moving parts in it, and they do break. So get repair parts for that. Additionally, get training. That is one of the most important things when you do purchase a firearm, is you need training. Training. You're gonna need tools. Something simple as a good solid knife, like that K-bar I got right in front of you. You're gonna need food. I cannot Um, I cannot express how important food is. Water, you have you not only need to have a source of water to procure a source of water, but also to put it in some type of container, and also how are you going to purify it? How are you going to clean it? And also too, with the technologically advanced lifestyle that Americans lead, you also, if you have after you cover food, water, personal protection tools, you need to look at the ability for long-term power generation and power storage, just like this Jackery Explorer 550 right in front of you. Also too, you want some solar panels or some way of producing that energy. Right in front of you, I've got a Gold Zero Nomad 4 recharging solar panel right here. All of these things in front of you, they're not that expensive. Some of them I had to save a little bit of money towards, but I was eventually able to buy them in the near term. All of these things are going to go ahead and keep some type of normalcy in your life and with your family when all of these things come to fruition. And then once you have all of these bases covered, also medical, you need to make sure that you have medical supplies as well. That's very important. I think it's really overlooked. But once all of those wickets have been hit, you also need to look into getting precious metals. Just like what I got in front of me. I got a little bit of gold and a little bit of silver. You take a look at some modern day hyperinflation events. Venezuela is a perfect example. If you go over to Alaska Prepper's channel, he has made a video back in late 2015, early 2016, in regards to what an ounce of silver will get you in Venezuela. And Venezuela has been going through a economic collapse for the past 8-10 years now. 1 ounce of silver, he shown, was able to buy a family of 4 38 days worth of food. So just keep that in mind. Precious metals, once you have fulfilled all of your other prepping needs, food, water, personal protection, power generation, climate control, tools, transportation, things like that, then you really need to look at taking your US dollars, Canadian dollars, wherever you're at, your fiat currency, and trading it in for something tangible like gold and silver. Because with this BRIC announcement, like I said before, I truly do believe that BRICS is going to announce a gold-backed currency. I do believe that Saudi Arabia is going to become a full member to BRICS, and I do believe if those two things transpire, then I think that Saudi Arabia could make the announcement, hey, we're going to take other currencies for oil. And that is just going to be the start of a paradigm shift within the United States. It's going to be the start of the shift of wealth and power from the west to the east. And if you want to minimize the pain that is going to cause most Americans, then get prepared. Hopefully this does not come to pass, but the writing's on the wall. The United States has abused its position on the global stage. The past 4 years, we have weaponized the US dollar in the SWIFT system, and we've thrown sanctions on so many people, and we have crippled so many governments and economies that we literally have a half of the planet that hates us. And they're going to jump at the opportunity to go ahead and de-dollarize. And I think that at this BRICS summit, that is exactly what's going to happen. All right, YouTube, go ahead and if you liked this video, go ahead and hit a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Go ahead and leave me a comment down below on what you like, what you don't like. And let me know what you think is going to happen. Let me know what you think about this announcement that BRICS is going to be announcing a gold back currency. And what does it mean for the United States and other Western countries? All right, YouTube, thanks again. Keep prepping. And this is Gonna Restart in 67. I'm out.